Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to get into a classic business dilemma, one that a lot of companies face. How do you grow without losing the very soul that made you special in the first place? And we're going to break it all down through a really fascinating story. I mean, this quote says it all, right? It perfectly captures the spirit of a company called Artisan Armor Co. For them, this is way more than just a business. It's a total obsession in art form. And the company started exactly how you'd imagine it. You've got two brothers, a forge, and this deep, deep passion for getting every historical detail just right. They didn't build their reputation on slick marketing campaigns. Nope, it was all pure word of mouth among a really exclusive group of people who wanted the absolute best, period. And just look at this client list. We're talking major Hollywood studios needing gear for blockbuster films, prestigious museums, even royalty. Every single piece they made had to be flawless, which is how they became known as the best in the world. But here's the twist. That success is exactly what led them to their biggest challenge ever. So this is the moment where everything changes for them. A huge streaming platform shows up with what seems like a dream deal. Outfit three massive global productions, all at the same time. It's the kind of opportunity that could make them legends. Or it could break them completely. And that, right there, is the big question for this whole explainer. How does a small shop, built on painstaking hands-on artistry, suddenly scale up for the modern world of mass demand and impossible deadlines without losing the very thing that makes it special? So let's dive into the core of this problem, what we're calling the artisan's dilemma. It's all about the incredible pressures that come with this kind of explosive growth. So that dream deal, well, it came with a nightmare list of demands. Three huge productions at once, scattered all over the globe. Brand new sustainability rules they had zero experience with. And of course, crazy tight deadlines that their small-scale, careful process just wasn't built for. Their entire way of doing business was suddenly at risk. And to make things even worse, their supply chain, which was already a bit shaky, just started to completely fall apart. The key ingredient, the very soul of their best work, that beautiful Damascus steel, suddenly became almost impossible to get. So this wasn't just some abstract business problem. It was a crisis hitting at the heart of their craft. So what do? Well, they're staring down the barrel of what's called an operational transformation. It's a fancy business term, but it basically just means you have to fundamentally change everything about how you work, your tech, your processes, your people, to meet these new goals. It is a huge, risky move, but for them, it might be the only path forward. Now, look, this kind of problem isn't just for armor makers. Pretty much every business at some point finds itself at a crossroads like this, where a really tough call has to be made. All right, first up, let's talk about Retrobytes Gaming Cafe. A super cool place, right? It's built around this amazing collection of vintage arcade games. But their love for nostalgia was getting absolutely crushed by a very modern headache: inefficiency. The reality was, they were running on pure chaos. A manual, messy inventory system was killing their profits and making for a bad customer experience. To survive, they had to get serious and shift to a streamlined, strategic system. Their crossroads was a choice between that chaotic passion and the disciplined operation they needed to actually stay in business. Okay, next up, Tidy Flow Solutions. Now, they've got kind of the opposite problem. They just had a huge win, a massive new round of funding. Awesome, right? But now comes the hard part. What do you actually do with all that cash? The whole debate really boils down to one question. Do you use the money to reward the team for all their hard work in the past? Short-term bonuses, a big celebration, or do you reinvest every single cent into the company's future, upgrading systems, a big marketing push? It's a classic battle between rewarding the past and betting on the future. And for our last case, and this one is probably the most dramatic, let's talk about Secure Stash Private Vaults. This was a high-end storage company, and their entire business model was built on one single thing: absolute, unwavering trust. And that trust? It was just completely shattered. So what happened? A whistleblower revealed that for 5 years, the company had been secretly taking pictures of what was inside their clients' private vaults. The fallout was, well, catastrophic. Clients left in droves, lawsuits piled up, and the company's value just vanished. Their crossroads isn't about growth or investment. It's about basic survival after you've broken your one fundamental promise. Okay, so we've looked at armor makers, a gaming cafe, a tech startup, and a security firm. All totally different, but all facing one of these defining moments. So, what can we pull from all these stories? Let's try to build a practical framework you can actually use. So, whenever you or your company hits one of these crossroads, try asking these four questions. First, what's our authentic edge? The thing that makes us special, like the craftsmanship at Artisan Armor. Second, where are we fragile? Where could we break, like the chaotic inventory at Retrobytes? Third, are we funding the past or are we funding the future? That was Tidyflow's big question. And finally, number four, what is the absolute foundation of our trust with our customers? That's the hard lesson from Secure Stash. Because at the end of the day, that's what this all boils down to. Great strategy isn't some magic formula that spits out the perfect answer. It's really just a framework for facing these incredibly difficult choices head on, really understanding the trade-offs, and then making a decision with conviction, even when it's tough. So I'll leave you with this to think about. What's the unique craft in what you do? What's your personal version of Artisan Armor's obsession with quality? And maybe more importantly, what's the big opportunity or the big crisis that you see on the horizon that's going to test it, that's going to force you to decide whether to scale it, protect it, or maybe even reforge it completely? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.